Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Married at First Sight All-Star panel as we'll be discussing Married at First Sight, season 15, episode number 9 from this past week. On with me are some lovely, lovely, and great and intelligent YouTubers. I have August Love Story and fresh off vacation, Miss Talisa Ray. How y'all doing this afternoon?
We're great.
Doing good, doing good.
As you can see, my better half is not with me. She's preparing for an event that we have to go to later on this evening, and she's already gone. So, nonetheless, I am bringing up the rear. But we're going to talk about Married at First Sight on this evening, and I want to get started. Well, let's get started with Miguel and Lindy, because they didn't have much going on in this past episode. Um, I'll start with August Love Story. Do you see the red flags that Miguel sees, or the red flags that Miguel friend sees? Because he says he sees a lot of red flags with Lindy.
I don't see the red flags when Lindy. Um, yeah, I think her asking for insurance was a bit. She jumped the gun on that, and it seems like she's a gold digger for asking for that. But I mean, eventually, that's a normal conversation, you know. Um, her not being herself and feeling like she has to walk on eggshells, kind of, sort of, is probably a red flag. But it's like he wouldn't know that that's what she's doing. For her it would be a red flag that she feels that's what she has to do. Now her talking about how crazy she can get and stuff like that, you don't tell somebody that you've been with 3 weeks that you're crazy, because the first thing they're gonna do is be like, all right, I'm out, or want to be out. Especially she's just giving him fuel when it comes to his out, because he's like, it's 8 weeks. I can do 8 weeks and I'm done after that. Um, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of with a red flag is that how fast she was like, hey, put me on your insurance, and then going out to his friends and talking to his friends about it too. Is kind of like, why would you involve them? Almost kind of sort of like it almost what do they call it, tattletelling on him, but not really, because he's a grown man. What you think?
I think that both Lindy and Miguel are red flag ish. They're red flag adjacent. Um, yeah, her going off about this insurance situation, I think that it's a normal conversation. If you have insurance, I don't, you're my spouse, we can have a conversation about it. But to like jump off the deep end like she did was a bit much. His ultimatum of change your last name was a bit much. We got crucified in our comments because we were like, Miguel is looking for an out. And they're like, it's 8 weeks. Everybody should be looking for an out. And I'm like, not really. If the goal is to be married forever, we shouldn't really be prefacing this with this is an 8 week experiment. We should be getting to know each other for 8 weeks. And then we have what he liked to wrap up in a bow, vow renewal day. So, I mean, if you're going to say we're giving this a test for 8 weeks, that sounds like that's all you're in for is the test of 8 weeks. So it's all red flag adjacent between the two of them. But I mean, to each their own with how they're navigating this. I just think that they both need to look at how they've reacted to things and kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
Talisa, what have you spotted with Lindy and Miguel? Do you see the red flags that everybody else sees from both sides?
So one thing that I want to mention is the friend who said, "Have you turned your red flag, whatever, off? Indicator off?" And my answer for both of them would be they have. They're in that whole NRE, new relationship energy, excited. Sex is great between the two of them. So they aren't seeing anything. Um, I think that Miguel is probably a little more cautious because he's a huge skeptic, except for when God descends divinely in the bedroom. Outside of that, I think that he's constantly like watching her, specifically when it comes to like her I was like, okay, Lindy, with the whole the F-bombs in the bedroom about you want me to take your last name and you won't give me insurance, et cetera, et cetera. I do think the insurance thing in 2 weeks is a little bit much. What have you been doing prior to? If you didn't have insurance prior to, whatever you've been doing is what you should continue to do until you know that he's going to say yes, because does keep saying the whole 8 weeks. My out is 8 weeks. He does keep saying that. So as much as you want to protect your last name, he wants to protect having to go through all that paperwork after you guys aren't together. Like, it's a huge thing for both of them. I think that they I think for sure she's just like, I'm in it, I'm staying in it, which is a red flag for me. Like, why are you just, regardless of who the person is, he could be a horrible person, you're in it, I'm gonna work through it. So for me, that's delusional and a red flag. And for Miguel, always since day one, it's been a red flag because he has commitment issues. And we know that from the beginning. So he's always been a red flag for me. I haven't even put up any reviews or anything because I was having a good time. So they'd be lucky if they get something from me. Like, I watched them, I took notes. I didn't put this up as my number, whatever episode this is. Because listen, who has time to sit with this? Anyway, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts.
I think both of them do have red flags. One thing that alarmed me, and I want you guys' opinion on it. Both of you guys been married. Well, at least you've been married, and August Love Story, you are married. Do you guys? The thing that alarmed me from both of them was Lindsay and Miguel keeping scorebooks on how many times she messed up. To me, that is a big red flag. Don't keep score. It's not a competition. And she wants him to forget about the times he messed up. And he was like, "Well, I'm counting, but I ain't gonna bring him up right now." Basically, how do you handle somebody who's dealing with scorebooks in relationships? What's one of the things that, to me, that's a big red flag, because what it tells me is that, okay, you're trying to hold stuff over my head for later, and you're gonna bring it back up. Do anybody keep scorebooks? Just asking. We try not to.
I know I didn't keep score, because if I kept score, I would have been winning the whole time. So that wouldn't have really that really wouldn't have been fair. But people are looking at you. I know one thing my late husband used to say all the time is, when you get that mouth together, you're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. So for me, he was keeping score. My mouth was a little reckless. So for me, he was keeping score. But I feel like, I think theirs is a little different. It's 8 weeks. I don't know you. I'm really checking all the boxes. Who are you when you're mad? Who are you when you're happy? Who are you? They are keeping score. I don't like it though. I don't personally like it. Miguel is not one to give any grace, but Lindsay is like, I'm gonna give you all the grace because I want to be married. So I don't know. But let's talk to people who married right now and is really working through being married and staying together. Like, that ain't that. I'm
Okay.
Go ahead.
I kept score in the beginning. Like, it was something I just couldn't get past. It was like, I do this, I do that, I do this, and I do it sometimes now still, and it's a work in progress. But understanding that, okay, you keep score, but it doesn't mean anything, because you're only keeping score to prove somebody's loser. And in a marriage, if you lose, she lose. If she lose, you lose. If you win, she wins. If she wins, you win. So keeping the score, or just saying, oh, I do this more than you, or you do this more than me, or you've done this so many times, and blah this and blah that, it only puts a divide in between the team. And what Jay-Z say?
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins with a family.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, that stands true. So why would I keep score, or why would that score matter? You take note of, okay, well, I do this and she does this. Well, let me, help here, or ask her to help me here, or do something like that to improve what you guys are doing and how you guys work together. But just him saying, 1, 2, 3, you're out. That's what he didn't say that, but that's what I inferred from what he was saying. It's like you have so many times before I'm like completely out of it, and you know, but it's like some people just are better at certain other things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how is it fair that you keep score with a person that you are vowing to be with, for better or worse, for richer or poor? I don't know all the words that I said, but you know, they're there. So that's why it doesn't work if you keep score.
But do you think that that's something that they have to learn? Like you guys have been married for what 6 years now this year,
Mhm.
so it's
Uh,
like when you started, like in the
Right.
beginning, like
Oh.
you said, you kept score, right? And I
yeah.
feel like those are two people. You got the runner and the delusional person that thinks it's just supposed to work out. Do you think that it's something that they have to work towards?
I,
And look, it's not even my channel, but and do you think it's something that they gonna get to? My bad, Glenn.
Oh,
no, I,
you're perfectly fine. We in this together.
no, I don't. I think it is because it's new. Because that's what the thing I struggle with. Because it was something new. You know, it wasn't like that. A light flipped on and we was married. No, it was okay. We're married now, so it's no turning back for me. You know, how do you make this work? You know, and it's a thing that you have to learn and you have to be conscious of it. But you have to want to make the marriage work. With me and with my thinking or what they've shown us, Miguel doesn't really care to make the marriage work. He was just wanting some booty, got it, and you know, he got 8 weeks until like he got this for 8 weeks. Then he can say no, and then I bet you he gonna hit her with um what Chris hit Paige with. Like, I'm gonna say no, but you know, we can still kick it and see if we can, you know what I'm saying, and all
See how
that.
this thing can work out.
Right. He just want to keep hitting it. But um I just think they both have to realize consciously what's going on as far as like, oh, we're keeping score, but why are we doing that? And then consciously work to move towards not keeping the score. Start working towards it. Doesn't matter what you do or you don't do, it's how we feel towards each other, how we're trying to go move forward in our relationship, in our marriage and everything like that. So
I think that the issue with his score that he's keeping is that there's no magical number, there's no situation. I think that if you go in and explain what your boundaries are, that changes the playing field. Because if you're like, hey, I don't tolerate X, Y, and Z, then it's something to say, okay, these are the things that we can work through, talk through. These are my non negotiables, right? But he's like, how many times can I do something before you're out? And it's like, do people really have that? Like, is
I
there
don't
like
believe so.
you get to get loud with me twice and we're done? Because people don't necessarily do that.
Well, you know how I feel about when people yell at me.
I know, but the thing with that is, have you told me or have you said, hey, you can only yell at me 3 times and then I want a divorce?
But
Nobody does
but no, nobody
that.
does that. But the difference is, it's like if you yelled at me and like it's gonna trigger me to respond,
Mhm.
but my thought is not to say, okay, I'm done with this.
Right. You should be triggered to have a conversation like, hey, I don't like when people yell at me.
Yeah,
Let's move past this.
right,
That's one thing I'm going to ask for you not to do. Right.
right,
And that's what should happen. But he's like, how many times do you get to do this
right, and then
before?
and
It's just it's weird. I guess it's weird the way that he was acting. Like I related it to being and when the cat pees. Like what? How do you like put those two together? Like what time does the cat pee? It's not like
it's
a
like
real question. Like how many times do you get to be crazy? Like, do you have a score, a record time? Like you're gonna write down every time I get crazy and reflect back and be like, November 2nd, we was about to be done because you did this again.
I
And
be
it's
feeling
like
like
she hasn't done that.
you take notes like that because you be like, a year ago you said this. I'll be like,
No,
man,
I
I don't
just point
remember
out
two
things
hours
that you
ago.
said in general. Like you'll be like, I don't remember saying that. And I'm like, nope, we were distinctly sitting here. You had on a black shirt and you said
That was 6
X,
months
Y, and
ago.
Z.
See, that's like me. My memory is great. I can remember where we were sitting at, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bring it up at this point because you know
I
what?
gotta play through the conversation to make sure that I'm not crazy sometimes. Because
Sometimes
sometimes I am crazy. I will admit that.
sometimes I
But
was just on a reality show and everything was recorded, and I can rewind the tape back and be like, remember this what you said? But then again, I can say that because she's not here. So anyway,
I mean, like, I'm completely in agreement with that. Like, it's sometimes like he'll say he doesn't remember things, and I'm like, but you're the one that said it. And it won't even be
right,
things that's directed at me. It'll just be general things. I'm like, this was your idea. You said it. I didn't come up with this.
right, and
It's
I
not
think that's
about
what
me.
I think that's a whole different show, right? But I think that's what Lindsay is. I think Miguel is like that. I think Miguel hasn't set any boundaries. They haven't set any boundaries, and she knows she's crazy, right?
Mhm.
She's trying to make him give her grace for her being crazy. My thing is, if you know you're crazy, control your crazy, right?
Right.
Control.
That's a therapy session.
That's the therapy said. Control your crazy. You know you go off. You know you like using the F word, right? Because that's her favorite word. She dropped the F bomb on the top of at a drop of a hat. So if you know you crazy, you like using the F word. At a certain point in time, Miguel has to say, you know what? I don't like your behavior, right?
Mhm.
And he might say, and your behavior is unbecoming as a woman, or your behavior is immature. Because I keep going back to she is very younger, much younger than him. So it is like her maturity level is not there yet. And he's trying to be established. Now, I'm not saying he is mature neither, still playing Dungeons and Dragons at the level he's playing at the age he at, but that's a whole different conversation.
What's
But there's certain things
What's
that
the age difference?
it's like 8 years.
8
Like
years.
yeah, it's
8
like
years.
8 years. So it's like it's an age gap there. And so there's some things that she's not mature about that he is mature about, but he has to set the boundaries with her. Like, look, I'm not necessarily keeping scores that you this, that, and the other, but you know what? You embarrassed me so many times in public, or you did this so many times, and I'm not gonna let you keep cussing at me so many times. But unless he set those boundaries, it's not gonna happen. And I think those have to be set between both of them. And I think even when she talks about the 90 and 10% and all that stuff, I'll fight for the 90, I'll fight for the 10%. That's fine. But that 10% is a lot when you're dealing with somebody's emotions, somebody's feelings, somebody's mindset. If you keep hitting me, take 10% of your body away, or 10% of my mind away, or 10% of my love away. That's a lot when you're dealing with 10%. So, the way that she's talking about, and she just want a lot of grace for him. And I don't think he's in the business of giving grace, because remember what he said is, I usually be gone.
Mhm.
I'm usually out. So you asking somebody who don't give grace to start giving grace. And I think if Miguel was honest with us and honest with himself, if this was just a dating relationship, he'll probably already be gone.
For sure.
I'm gonna have to be on the other side because I kind of feel like Lindy is very smart and very tactful in the way that she approaches the situations when it comes to Miguel. And that whole 90-10 thing, I'm in agreement. Like, I agree with her because the 10%, I would feel like it wouldn't be 90 anymore. It'd be more like 60 if it was an emotional taxing kind of thing. I feel like it's that whole, that whole 80-20 rule people be talking about. Why leave the house when you got 80 for the 20 that, when people be cheating or whatever they do when they in dishonest relationships.
Tyler Perry followed us a dream with that one.
So I mean, it's that whole like you going out for something and you have the majority of everything you need here. We aren't perfect by all means, by any means, but I'm with her in the fact of if we communicate and we're talking and these are the things that I don't like. Like he did say, I don't like this behavior. I don't like this part of Lindsay or Lindy. You got me calling her Lindsay, Glenn. This part of Lindy. What can we do if she's open to the I listen, she a little crazy and I give it to her for saying I can't be my whole self. I really want you to see all of me, including my over emotional, overreacting stuff. Can you deal with all that? I don't want you to say yes at 8 weeks and then on week 10 or 11, oh, that's too much. I don't want to deal with it. I want you to see all of it. I don't know. But I do like Lindy. I'm gonna just tell y'all, maybe I'm a little biased. She is a little crazy, but I do like the way she tries to communicate for somebody that's so much younger than him. And I give her credit for wanting to give it a shot, but a little bit delusional. Like I'm a little I'm a little in the fuzzy area because he wants to run and she wants to just try. But all of that to say is she's not that much more immature than he is. I really kind of feel like he only got numbers on her, and we know that women, no offense, fellas, by nature are about 5 years more advanced than men. So she's damn near close to what he is. No offense, y'all. Just I don't want to hurt y'all feelings, but it just
None taken.
okay.
Yeah, none taken. None taken.
Listen, so I kind of feel like they are kind of on level playing field. He ain't really sticking around. She trying to stick. Like I really feel like they're both the same amount of crazy. I don't know. It's just me. I kind of like them together. They probably won't stay together, but I kind of like them together. They balance each other.
I respect her honesty. You know, she's laying it on the table. I do respect her honesty. But with the honesty, I think sometimes if you know what you are and your spouse doesn't like it, I think you might try to curve that a little bit. And I think he showed her that, you know what, I can't deal. Because he shuts down. When she starts cussing, and you look at his face, when she starts going off, he goes there and just he totally shuts down. So she has to be able to.
She say she would like work on it, like she was gonna try, or I don't know what it was that she
Yeah,
said during that conversation. And so for me, that acknowledgement is huge. Most people who don't want to change are not acknowledging any behavior that your spouse is saying I don't like. They're all like, oh well, that's your problem. But she's saying, okay, I hear you. You know what I mean? And with the whole guest expert this week when she said, I respect him, so I try and. For me, that's a big deal. I respect you enough to say, okay, let me think about the things that I'm saying and how I react. But in the same breath, I'm not really being my full self. So in that regard, she probably needs to go get some therapy because why is it that you want to just blow off the handle? Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. I'm off the.
You good. No, you good because she does. I think I like Lindy. I like Lindy as well. I think she has a good character, a good person. I think sometimes it just comes off naive. And I think she does come off trying to manipulate the situation. I think she was real manipulative last week with the insurance and the name situation. She used that to get him. And then she probably the one in the bedroom to her candy dish as a weapon for Miguel. You know what I'm saying? So she used a candy dish as a weapon for Miguel. And that's probably why he changed his mind. You know, she put something on him.
Absolutely why. The heavens opened up and the angels started singing. Absolutely why.
why he changed the names. But I like those two. You talked about crazy and people losing themselves. Let's go to this couple here because I think Kristen has really lost herself for who she is. And I think Mitch is just being him, and he wants her to conform to what he wants and not allowing her to be her. So let's start with Talisa on this one. Your thoughts on Kristen and Mitch?
You know, for 5 seconds, when I say 5, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like, okay, Mitch, I see you. And I don't know, I guess it was last episode when they were talking about, and she shared her relationship mishap and the man leaving, and he was very supportive. So for 5 seconds, I was like, oh, you might be all right. And then, he shows himself back up. And Kristen, I like her too. I like her better when she stands her ground, though, like she did when they were on the honeymoon. I like her better when she says, these are my boundaries. These are the things that I like. This is who I am. I'm not so much when she just yields to the things that he wants, because as she said, she is trying to appease him. She is people pleasing him so that he can be the Mitch that she likes. That Mitch, when he told her it feels disingenuous because she because she's agreeing with him, that Mitch is definitely making her feel like she has to change and be who he wants her to be, because he is an environmentalist. She wanted to buy some shot glasses. Listen, rinse them out. Like, I don't understand why them little plastic shot glasses were such a big deal that she had to send them back. Rinse them out. They don't break easily. Like, I don't know how many of y'all have Jello shots all the time, but every party I go to, we have a Jello shot. And I can rinse them out and reuse them, wash them and reuse them. It's just like little things that he's doing. And she is just bending with her wanting to be in real estate and him saying that it's predatory, flipping houses is predatory, and that's not something that he wants to do. And then I really want to live on the poverty line because just because I have it, doesn't mean that I should spend it. Like, I think that that's unfair. for her who makes good money, who's able to do the things that she wants, just because I want to live life nicely doesn't mean it doesn't can't be sustainable. It doesn't mean I can't consider the environment, but it does mean I want to live nicely. Quit bringing that shit in the house that's cluttering my house up. Like, why are you hoarding everything here? Go and take it to the Goodwill if you feel like somebody can use it, but we can't use it here at this house. Like, I really feel like she's not putting her foot down. Like, I make money. I want to buy clothes. I bought you a shirt. You can't wear the shirt. You got to make a big deal about the shirt. Like, it was just so much with Mitch that I'm back to not liking him. Like, I thought that he was on the up and up. I thought that we were starting to see a change. But really, that whole thing when he said, I don't like to be controlled, I don't like for people to tell me what to do, to me sounds like some trauma that all the other people are talking about that he is not addressing. Because that's not a control thing. I bought you a shirt. Tommy Glenn, would you be mad if your wife bought you a shirt? She was thinking about you. And she had to break the joke because she got to go tell you now that, well, all the guys are wearing a shirt and it's a joke between. Like, all of that is too much. I would have let him just wear whatever. Wear your little plain, ugly shirt that you ain't washed in 5 days. I don't know, wear it. Because you know that he ain't washing his clothes that often because he saved the environment. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know what I was talking about or what we talking about with Mitch. I know that she needs to go ahead and put her foot down and say the things that she wants and what's important to her, including the real estate, including living nicely, including not living in a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom shack, living in a nice house, but make it sustainable. There is a way to compromise so that you both have what you want. And I feel like right now, if she continues in the way that she's going, it's going to be about what he wants and what he wants to do only. Forget about, living in a nice house. Forget it. Forget about having any, going anywhere. When that friend came in, the last episode, this is what happens when you miss a week. When the friend came in and she came with the coffee, they don't know plastic, but then whatever it was, I was just like, this dude is condescending and just wants her to just change automatically. I was hopeful for 5 seconds, but I'm back to not liking him, and I'm done because I don't know if I was rambling, but it's on y'all, and I agree with everything you said because guess what? I know already.
As Tommy says, Mitch was gonna Mitch this up, and Mitch is Mitching it up.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a way about him driving home, the fact that he did not agree with her wanting to pursue real estate. He was like, he said it in the moment. They got the karaoke. He was like, let me say it again. And then they got to the beach, and he was like, let me say it a third time. Like, you need to hear exactly what I'm saying because I don't like something. And I can see why she's feeling like she's losing herself in this relationship because literally she's having to conform to everything that he wants. The coffee thing I really don't get because this plastic has already been used. This coffee has already been ordered. Even if I poured it into something that I have at the house, what are we gonna do with it? Like, I don't get what the point of saying we don't allow this in the house is, because it's still already been used. There's nothing that we can change on that side of it. I don't really know what Kristen can do, like in terms of putting her foot down, because he's always going to drive his points home. And sometimes as a person, you're just like, I'm gonna do whatever you say just so you'll shut up. And I think that that's what she's consistently doing, is she's doing whatever in agreement so that she doesn't have to hear him. But I don't get this whole we can't live well or even nicely. I'm not saying that you gotta act like you're a millionaire, but we can't live nicely because other people can't afford to live nicely. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. That's like, we should never buy a house because there's people that will never be able to buy a house. Like, it doesn't equal to anything, or it doesn't make sense in that regard. And I can't remember what the last one. Oh, the shirt. The shirt situation, I just don't get it. Like you said, this shirt isn't my style because it has little tiny buttons. I'm just trying to figure out, did you think what you had on looked that much better? Because it did not. Like, I didn't personally care for the shirt itself. However, it was a joke. What did you gain from being in on the joke for 10 seconds and then going and taking off the shirt? Because now you just look like a party pooper to everybody that's there. And it's not really that serious of a deal to say, I don't want people making me do something. Well, you've made her do something. You made her return some shot glass containers. You basically told her that her dreams and aspirations are terrible and it's making her a terrible person, but you can't put on a shirt. Like, how is that fair? That's some self-evaluation that you need to sit and figure out for yourself, because the logic is not there. It just doesn't make sense at all. Like Tommy and I were talking about it, and we were like, if he got put in a situation where him and like 5 guys showed up with the same shirts on, he would think it's funny and say, let's take a picture. But Mitch is like, I look better in my t-shirt that I haven't washed in 2 weeks because I also haven't washed my legs and my feet. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think he'll be back down here. So Glenn, I guess we'll go to you and then we'll trade off because the baby just woke up.
Yeah, you fine. I think the shirt situation, to me, I would have laughed at it too. I thought it would have been funny, right? I thought it was cool. You all right, you got one on me. Let me get one on you. Watching After Party, they stood and talked about that shirt thing for about 30 minutes. And Nate got to the point where he said, God dog, Mitch, it's just a shirt. Like they didn't show that, made it look like 5 minutes, but Nate was kind of getting upset. They're like, yo, Mitch, it's just a shirt, dog. We all got it on. We all got tricked. Let us all enjoy the moment here and enjoy brothers being on, wearing a shirt. I think he did too much. I think Artieka, you brought it up too. He wants her to change, but he wanted her to take the necklace he made or he found on the side of the road, whatever case may be. That necklace, he wanted her to take that, and hey, she took it, right? Because that was there. So if I give you a gift, it's okay for me to give you a gift that I found on the side of the road, but it's not for you. It's okay for you to give me a gift that you purchased and it looks nice and look clean, and I can't wear it. So we can't have it both ways, right? He wants it one way, and I think she has to stop conforming to him. Not even sexually, even all the romantic stuff. Even with all this, she's still showing him love. What got me was even after sure all that he said and everything he did, she was still hugged up and bunned up with him. I know most women would have been mad, like, hold up, dog, you ain't getting along with the program, you ain't following through, you making me look like a comp, But one thing I think I do like her honesty because she was willing to say, you know what? Now let me tell y'all what really happened, right? So get the whole group involved, and Mitch and I think Mitch has to stop messing things up. His views are not her views. And I think he has to understand that. That's probably why he hasn't been dating for a long time, because he can't find anybody that had the same type of views that he has. Even the people in his circle don't have the same views that he has. Sometimes you can be so extreme that you turn people off. And I think that's where he's at. He's so extreme. Not that I don't like his cause, not that his cause is not great, not that his cause is not to save the earth, but there's some have to, at some point in time, they have to be compromised. It makes me think with some of these people that come on this show, or the people that they select for this show, don't know what it's all about. There's going to be that person is not going to be just like you, right? We talked about Alyssa last season. Everybody wasn't going to stop and rescue dogs and save dogs on the side of the road. Mitch, everybody ain't going to be that environmentalist, but she's willing. She's trying. He's complaining about money in houses. She said, I paid 20 times as much for these steel glasses that I did for the plastic. So at what point, if it's okay to spend money when it's for him, but it's not okay to spend money for her. I didn't like the fact that he was a dream killer, right? Because she's making finances now. She's making more money than he does. She said later on, I want to be able to have enough money for us to have 2 homes. I flip homes and we live in a home and this, that, and he's complaining. Well, if only way that you can be generous and to be the way he wants is to have money, right? If you have money, you can give money. So let her do her dream and do what she want to do, flip houses. It benefits everybody because he wants to. She might be able to raise enough money. He can go fight and be a environmentalist and not have to work a real job, right? Just go save the earth because she's making enough money flipping homes or doing whatever in that area. Mitch just has to be able to relax and let her, and Kristen has to be herself. regardless of how it may turn Mitch off, regardless of how it may make Mitch feel. I think there's a coming point in time. We talk about boundaries with Miguel and Lindy. Uh, Kristen has to lay some boundaries for Mitch. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do. This is how far I go with the environmental stuff. This is how far I'm not going to go with environmental stuff. Can you imagine when they have kids? What kind of diapers are going to use? Is she going back to cloth diapers? Is she going back to cloth diapers and have to use cloth diapers? Because we already know he don't clean well, so she can be back there washing and cleaning the cloth diapers over again and reusing them and washing them all the time because he's not the cleaner. And so again, those are conversations they need to have because I'm sure if he don't like plastic, there's no way in the world he like diapers. Right? There's no way in the world diapers are just as bad. So Mitch has some issues and they have a lot of things to discuss in their relationship. But I'm a firm believer that she would never leave Mitch because she don't want a divorce. And she doesn't want to go through the process again. She just wanted to be married. She's happy to be married, and she's always going to conform. If anything happens, he will leave her. She won't leave him. That's just my opinion. That she will always she will be with Mitch.
I agree with you with that, Glenn, because I think that she is conforming because she wants to be married so badly. And that's going to be one of the things that's going to be her downfall, especially if she doesn't want to lose herself. That's going to be an issue because she wants to be married. She wants to have these children. And he right now is saying what she wants. And so I'm with you, Glenn. She's going to say yes all the way through the end. He could stomp on her heart and she's probably still going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to wait and see. I mean, she is seeming very much so chameleon-like as it relates to him. Like everything you want, whatever you want. Yes, I'm gonna express myself, but in that same breath, in expressing myself, I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and go along with what you want. I don't know about them. We know I don't like Mitch again. I'm back to not liking Mitch.
Yeah. On a fun note, man, Mitch dropped some bars the other night. how do y'all think Mitch did in the rapping department, man? Tommy, you gonna put Mitch on y'all podcast, brother?
Nah. No. I mean, he done better than I would have done. So, kudos to him. I think Mitch is Mitching this thing up. And I think Kristen is allowing him to it is Kristen, right? Yeah. Is allowing him to Mitch it up. I'm with you guys. I don't really fool with Mitch like that. The thing that bothered me the most, or two things that bothered me the most about their whole interaction, this whole episode, is Mitch was like, I would feel guilty for living in a big house, but fighting for whatever he was fighting for. And I was like, what'd you say? Social injustice. And I was like, I grew up poor. I don't want to be poor. I want a big house, fancy cars, nice cars, and everything like that because I want the generation behind me to see that I did this and they could do it too. Because I think that prepares the people behind us to enter a world that's not going to necessarily be kind to the poor, you know? And so it's like, who wants to live in that way? And how does he think? Like, I think it's so unfair that he gets his way so much and she gets so little and she's just taking it. He calls her at that when they was at the karaoke thing, he calls her in inauthentic. Well, duh. If everything she does, you say no to it, and she's just only trying to make you happy, she's gonna be inauthentic. He's saying she's inauthentic because she wants to flip houses or she's this or she's that. But I'm like, she's doing everything you want her to do. And if you don't see that, you're blind. And it's like, because she's doing that, it's like, what are you like at decision day? She should say no, and he would probably say yes because he has the perfect woman because she's conformed to everything he's asked her to do. But for her, she gets nothing. And apparently, they having sex, but how good is that? That's it's just
She said on the after party a few episodes ago that it was okay.
Yeah, if
like
it ain't
mediocre at best.
right, if it ain't the
Not
best
wrong.
thing smoking,
Not wrong at all.
it's like what's the point, you know? But I just have a issue with how she's losing herself in this relationship and he's just basically allowed to run over everything and everything looks peachy key in his whole, through his eyes or whatnot. So it's hard, man. But to answer your question, he had a few bars, but he went sideways. He did way better than I would. Like to least he like it's terrible with me. I tried to rhyme rat with money some at one point in time. It's terrible.
Listen, listen. When she said that he had a little flow and he was on beat, I said, "What weird."
Did you see her dancing?
I,
What song was she listening to then?
what were they right? What were they karaoke? Because she was definitely
Yeah.
enjoying herself. I'm gonna say that. I probably would enjoy Kristen and her karaoke because it looks so wacky.
No,
But him that rapping, Glenn, it was not good for me. It
no.
was not good. I thought to myself, I'm not a rapper, but I bet you I can get a couple bars out better than that. Like I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah,
San
he was.
Diego and Pastor Cal is my pal. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like what are we doing? Sir, I'm sure all of your friends, all of the lilies like you are would definitely enjoy that. So I better let me stall him out. But
This is
no.
right. Well, that's the side of Mitch I think he should be all the time. That fun type of guy, and that's what she's looking for. I think those glimmers of hope is what's keeping her not from losing her mind because she see glimmers of hope where Mitch can be and what Mitch can do. It's just when it comes to the environmentalist stuff, and he controls the home. You know, I just want to know what kind of toothbrush he using toothpaste because I don't know too many steel toothbrushes. I haven't seen any. Maybe they are some. Some of you guys help me out. You're environmentalists. What do you do with plastic toothbrush? How can you avoid? I know you can avoid some things that are plastic, but just let me know. Even what's the guy's name that was on a New Orleans season? Bennett. Bennett wasn't this bad, right? Bennett wasn't as bad as Mitch is. So I think Mitch has a lot to grow, a lot to go into, and he has a lot to grow when dealing with Kristen. I think he needs to see her emotional side, her. He needs to see her heart and see what it stands for, and realize that you know what, I am in the way of our relationship growing even further than what it is. Somebody said charcoal toothbrush. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, because I didn't know. Charcoal toothbrush.
And toothpaste. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
toothpaste. Yeah, so I appreciate that. So
I'm silly, man. I thought we used charcoal toothbrush and toothbrush heads, and I thought we did it because it's black.
But maybe,
That's
maybe
just
we're not laughing at you. We're not laughing at you because maybe it's a black owned company she bought them from.
They were on sale. That's why we used them.
oh okay.
yeah, so
Uh, I wanted to say this, man. I think Mitch needs to realize. Like I always think this was a bucket list thing for Mitch, but I really think he needs to realize that he's in a real relationship now, and it's not a game, and that him trying to meet her halfway will be 10 times helpful than him trying to change her into he's an environmentalist, right? That's what you call him? Or
Yeah.
yeah, so instead of trying to change her into a environmentalist, kind of learn who she is and then conform to some of the things that she like and learn how to like if it's like a vegetarian finding alternatives to eat versus somebody that just eats meat, being with a person that eats meat, but also being able to say, okay, my girl eats meat but I don't. I'm going to cook her something um that maybe we can meet in the middle about. Maybe I can fix her some meat but I won't eat it, but I'll fix me something extra, just making that extra step to make her feel comfortable in the situation that they're in, because at this point I don't think that's what's going on. At this point I think like she's just doing all the make him feel comfortable, but it's not being reciprocated. And how long can that last?
Yeah, as what Jackie was saying. You want some more tea, sir? Whatever you like, sir. You know, whatever you want, whatever you want. Let's move on to this next couple here because they frustrate me every time they come on my TV. And that's Ben and Morgan. Ben and Morgan, they frustrate me. I get frustrated when I see Morgan on my television screen. This man opened his heart up this past week to her and really um, dealt with his own, and you can really see he really thought about his own insecurities, that he dug deep into about how he feels and what the way he feels, how he is kind of bucking in his Asian culture. He's not doing what they want him to do. His parents want him to do. He became an engineer. They wanted him to be a doctor. He's working. He's walking in his own path, right? And he's walking his own way. And I still don't think she got it. I don't think she understood how he was basically saying, you know what, I made a mistake, I messed up. Can you please let it go? I did some soul searching for myself and in myself, and I realized all this. I just want you to let it go and let us be married. Tommy, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Ben and Morgan.
Um, I really, I really think Ben is really sorry for the way he reacted to things. I think it's harder for Morgan to give grace and forgive and forget and all those things just because she never had to. And I think that's just a process that she's going through. Um, and it's like Morgan just don't want to give up that. It's almost like this is the only thing she can hold on to. It's kind of like when a mom's son meets his wife and she's like trying to hold on to the one thing that she can hold on to, and it's that, it's like, let it go for your happiness, because if you let whatever happened go and you guys move forward, like I liked when they did the mermaid, they was doing mermaid things. Yeah, mermaid lessons, which is hilarious, by the way. Um, like that's do more of that. Do experiences to get to know each other and forget what you guys had come through, because at this point you're wasting time being mad about the things that has happened already that wasn't detrimental. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go out here and rob, steal, or kill, or anything of that nature. He didn't cheat on you. He didn't do anything. He apologized for what he did, and I think he's remorseful for it. And so it's like, let it go, move forward, figure out a way how to move forward. Because if you're able to do that, you become a better person. Period. So, um, it was kind of interesting hearing Ben talk about how he became a people pleaser and how he recognized, like, hey, this is what happened and this is why. And him saying, hey, I want to work on things like that. That's always kind of good to see, and then with Morgan's trying to figure out, she was like, I think her people pleaser was her dad, right?
Mhm.
But the end of that relationship became she don't talk to her dad now, you know. So it's kind of like Morgan has to soften and Ben has to harden a little bit. I don't know. That is just like, I don't know, but yeah.
I'm a recovering grudge holder.
Yeah.
And as a person who's recovering from holding grudges, Morgan's got to figure that part of her life out, because she gets riled up about things and then she's like, nope, I don't have to deal with it. And while you don't have to deal with it, it's not healthy to always not deal with it. On top of that, at the ending, which we didn't get to see that full scene, but when she came back home and she was like, Alexis told me everything, I'm like, is this about to be something that was very unnecessary to have a conversation about? What was it that he said? I know it's to get us hooked on to next week's episode, but when you just look at it from that standpoint, it's like, are you just looking for another thing to complain about, or was this something actually real?
You see the flowers she didn't take from him.
Yes, I did. She threw them on the ground and then looked at him like, what?
It was like YouTube is really working out for him, man.
But yeah, I don't get how all of that works. and she's got to figure out why she needs to hold grudges so bad, because it's at this point it's like a necessity in her life.
So it's my turn. I can go now.
Yep.
Okay. I really commended Ben on this episode. The fact that he was able, like you said, Tommy, to step back and really take a look at himself and see where it came from. And not only that, was able to articulate it in a way that I felt should have resonated with Morgan. I feel like though she hurt him, it felt very much so like whatever. Like, thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming. Thank you for shopping. Come again. Like, it didn't hold any value. For me, that would have been huge and a big way to reset. Because honestly, if we're going to keep it a band, I really think that she's holding on to the issue that they had in at the honeymoon. She's been holding on to it too long. It's time for her to let that go. It wasn't that serious. He apologized, recognized his wrongdoing, apologized more than one time unnecessarily, if you ask me. But now this time took it a step further and said, I can relate and I see where now, and I can see where I'm judging you, how my family has judged me based on our strict Asian culture standards of what we should and shouldn't be. And with the whole, like you said, the mermaid thing, I thought, oh wow, this looks like they're gonna recover. Like they look like they're having a good time. Oh, maybe they're gonna be rubbing up against each other tonight. Maybe this is, maybe this is gonna be good. That was what I had. That's what I thought. And I was just forsaken. Like, it just made me sad to see Morgan be so unwavering and unforgiving that you can't see that he is really trying. And yeah, he just turned 30 and saying you look icy and all that. I get it. Tell me I look beautiful, right? Tell me you look good or hot in that dress, babe, or whatever. But if he doesn't know that language, which for me, he gives me the feeling of not having a lot of relationship experience. And I think he shared that he didn't have a lot of relationship experience. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know how to react. And now on top of that, I'm combating you in these steel walls that you have up that got a fire-breathing dragon on the other side. So the moment I think a brick is down, there's something hot coming through it. So I'm putting the brick back myself because I don't want to be bothered with what's on the other side of this. Like, and then that whole moment that they had where she was like, how she overcame being a people pleaser by just loving herself and blah, blah, blah. He received that so well. Like, he feels, I think he's going to take that and like think about all the accomplishments he's had and how great he is. But it was almost like she was telling him like to look down at him. And honestly, I feel like, ma'am, you need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the shadow work, go back in the closet, because you wouldn't have these strong walls up that you have if you had exactly, as you say, gotten past it. You haven't. I really feel I said it in the beginning, I still mean it, that they were a mismatch, that the experts did them a disservice. And I still feel that even more so, because he might be rigid in like finances, right? I don't want to spend no money, right now he'd be like, you got too many things going on in the house, Talisa. All them fans, I don't have no air conditioning. So he'd be mad. But I think that he is more willing. Someone said, I think it was Disco Sprinkles. She said that he was more coachable. And I'm going to have to agree with that. If you talk to him and it makes sense, I think he's more rational, more logical, and he's going to take what you say, step away from it, and come back and be like, oh, that makes sense. Where she is all like, what I say is law, and that's what it is. Poor Ben. At this particular point, I'm saying poor Ben. Poor Ben. You're not gonna win for losing. And like you said, Artieka, about the whole bait that they got us, I'm all like, what could he have possibly said that he was lying on you? What, that you going down on him or something? What is he saying that's giving you that type of response? And then for me, Alexis, shut your ass up. Like, you getting on my nerves, homegirl. Like, shut up. All the way around, shut up. Quit stirring the pot. It's none of your business. Drink your water and mind your business. Mind the business that pays you, which is you and your husband over there. She getting on my nerves. So next week, I don't know what I might say. Hopefully it ain't as bad as we think, because Alexis going to get it if it's something that just made them go further into a spiral. a disconnect anyway. My last statement is just poor Ben. Poor Ben. Hopefully he comes out of it with some self-respect for himself, some love, and knowing exactly what he wants. Because I don't think that they're gonna make it. It's just not gonna happen. They're mismatched.
Yeah, I'm gonna say my Alexis and Justin comments for next week. I gotta find out what it is that was said before I really go off, because I think they're too involved in their relationship. So I'll wait till next week. I think Justin and Alexis are both involved too much in the relationship. One thing that struck me about Morgan real quick is she was willing to take the drunk "I love you" from the drunk guy, right? The drunk, and that was like the biggest "I love you" in the world. And I'll die for you. I'll fight for you. I'll do whatever for you. And he was probably liquored up. But that's her biggest love moment. I can't knock that or take that away from her. But I thought that was funny because this guy's trying to do everything he can to show you that he loves you and try to appreciate you and try to bounce back. And you won't even allow him to bounce back, right? You won't even allow him. You don't even take accountability for what you did, fabricated or whatever the case may be. She has to be able to understand him, his side of the family, where he's from and what he does. And he got to be able to understand. And she can't be so hard. There was a moment there where she could have really embraced Ben. When he poured his heart out, she dapped him up. That would maybe hot. She dapped him up. She didn't hug him. She didn't do anything to show him, when I really care. Out of her mouth, she said, "Look, I appreciate it. I thank you for being vulnerable. I thank you for showing this." But to me, that was the moment where she could have embraced him, say, "You know what, Ben, let's start over. Let's hit the reset button. Let's do whatever. I see where you make. Yes, I understand. I forgive you." If she really wanted the relationship, that was the opportunity and the time to do so. So when she didn't do that, I was like, you know what? This relationship's over. If I had any hope about their relationship, it's gone after that moment because she missed the opportunity. It's almost like Jasmine when Michael pulled out his issue about his brother passing away, and she really didn't hug him, and he was crying and all that stuff. I was like, nope. In this moment right here, Morgan missed the boat with Ben. She missed it. She missed the opportunity to rekindle the love, rekindle the relationship, to do all that. I understand the mermaid thing was fun. I think some of those things are things that the TV show makes them do. It wasn't something that she wanted to do. But yeah, she missed the boat when my man was pouring out his spirit. He was pouring out his heart, and she just dapped him up like that was a homeboy. Shows me that she don't know how to show emotion. She don't know how to show affection, and she can't do love because she hasn't been able to been given love, so she can't show love.
You make a good point though, Glenn. It made me think about her talking about how he shows affection or compliments her with the icy and all of that. But I mean, like you said, if you're dapping me up like I'm the homie, then that's the response. You're cultivating that environment for us to have this bro type relationship. So that was a good point, Glenn. I wrote it down, but kind of glazed over it.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, High Vibe, said, "I don't think she really want a guy anyway," but that's a whole different. You don't think Morgan wants a guy, but I don't know. I mean, she has some mannish characteristics, but hopefully next week, her and Ben. I think next week. I'm sorry, the way if he messed up the first time and she's giving him this, if he really messed up the second time, she's totally gone. she's totally gone. I think she's like, I told my wife, I said, you know what? If they bring back the episode, you know how they brought back previous seasons, do you want this marriage to continue or you want to get out of it? I think if they bring that back, she'd be like, I'm done. If he talked to Alexis and Justin again about anything, I think she's done. Because the way that she trusts and the way that she talks about it, she's already halfway shut off anyway. So we'll see. Anything else on Morgan and Ben before we move on? All right, nothing else on Morgan and Ben. Let's move on to Justin and Alexis, who is one of the main reasons that Morgan and Ben has issue in the first place. And I say that because if you have not been following along, if Alexis never tells Morgan what Justin said the first time, what Ben said the first time to Justin, there wouldn't have been no issue, right? She would have never known that Justin that Ben had talked to Justin, and their relationship might be in a whole different place right about now. Justin and Alexis are messy, and they're not paying attention to their own relationship. and I didn't have my shirt because guess what, y'all? Newton was attacked. I just want to let y'all know before anybody else says it.
I was
Newton,
about to actually say that. Be like, Glenn, did you know that my dog Newton got attacked by
Newton got
Justin's dog Maya?
yep.
Maya had to go to training camp.
Yep, had to go to training camp. Had to go to training camp. Newton got attacked. We'll start with August love story. Your thoughts on Justin and Alexis from this past episode? Is Alexis gaslighting Justin?
Yep. I was trying to pull up my notes about what they said, but I'm gonna say yep to that. I think we knew that Justin was a people pleaser from the very beginning without him even saying it. And I think Alexis has attached to that part of him to manipulate how he moves. I also think that Alexis, like that question that she asked him was like, if we weren't married, would you date me? Be like, even if y'all are married, you don't want to date him. So like, what's the big deal about that question? Because that's not what you want. He wants to be married. Like that's his end goal. Like I want a wife. Not really sure how he's romanticized having a wife, because usually when people really really want to be married and it doesn't matter to whom, it's a overly romanticized version of marriage, and you have to get to the root of why you need this overly romanticized version of marriage. But they're absolutely gaslighting each other. um Newton is going to be the reason that she says no, and I'm just happy that his friend is taking his dog so he can get his dog back at the end instead of losing his dog forever.
Man, their relationship is like nerve wracking, if I could say the least. Um, I think Justin sets himself up for failure. Like when he asked her, "How much do you love me and how you love me?" He knows the answer to that. Like she don't love him. She just said it because he said it.
Oh yeah, she did say she was uncomfortable answering that
Yeah,
question. And I was like, uncomfortable answering a question about love to someone you said you love?
yeah. Cause she don't love him. She loves not him. Uh,
Herself.
yeah, she definitely loves herself. Alexis don't like him. Like she never would have chose him to date, and she's trying, and it's not perfect. So because she's trying, in her eyes, okay, I'm doing this. I'm hitting this box. I'm hitting that box. I'm doing this. I'm checking this off. This happened to my dog. That's my out. And then she's continuing to do these things, trying to be um a great team player in it, but she doesn't like him. And I'm assuming she probably don't find him attractive, and all this and all that. And for her to be as sexual as she said she was, they hadn't had sex, but they spend time with each other like that and everything like that. So it's it's the small things that's being blown up as like huge things for her, and those are the things that's allowing her to keep um like basically to keep a list of for when decision day comes, she can say no. Um, when they went to go see in the group therapy, I think Justin was just running off at the mouth, and he was just trying to catch something, like say something that sounded right and sounded the way it wanted to go, and in hopes of somebody agrees with him. Um, And Alexis was like, "Nah, I don't agree with that at all," because now she thinks he's um flogging, basically, just lying to be lying about stuff. And so um it's man, I don't know what to say about this couple because it's weird, it's just like they argue about stupid stuff, they keep stuff, and then they just Justin want to be in love so or want to be married so bad, and I'm like, I don't understand that. Like for me, it was like my wife told me we're not gonna be roommates forever. So either we're gonna like break up or we're gonna get married. I get that. I didn't want to break up, so the next step is to marry her.
And that wasn't an ultimatum, guys.
And
I said that before I moved in with
right.
him.
And I didn't look at it as an ultimatum. It was okay, I see where her mindset is. Let me check and see where mine is. Let me see where I want to do and how I want to do it, because I'm not playing a game with her. I'm doing life with her, you know. Check out our podcast, because I think that's what I said in our podcast, and Talisa's eyes start sweating. But you know, that's the thing. I always wonder why these folks are so stuck on marriage, you know, when it's more to it than just saying I do at the altar, you know. There's way more to it. And it's like when they get in the thick of it and we're seeing it and we're like, oh man, this is an easy fix, but the only thing you have to do is XYZ, and you're like, why they don't see it? How is it that you don't see the issue right here and they're going through it? So I it's just I want to understand why Justin wants to be married so bad. That's the first thing. And I think I have a better concept of his approach to things in this experiment.
Mm-hmm.
It's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them both to be quiet. Just be quiet. Just shut up. And I mean with the TF at the end. I just want them to be quiet. Because for him, he's just talking and talking and talking and saying things that he thinks that she wants to hear, but not really, trying to justify himself, but can't articulate himself clearly. So he sounds really like immature and dumb and inexperienced and what the fuck. Sorry for y'all. I've been working on it, okay, because of that one lady that one time. But whatever. And her, for me, is she just throws up their issues. So I'm gonna go back to last week at the party. Was that at the party when she just started throwing up about what's not working in their relationship to people that don't necessarily need to be a part of that. You don't have to pretend that everything is okay. We having a bit of a moment, so we're gonna work through it. But she throws up everything, like, and then throws up as it, like, because she talks too much. Just what, like the whole celibate thing. Every time you turn around, I just feel like she needs to. They both actually need to take a step back and learn to listen, not speak, but to listen. Actually, hear with the other person's ear, see what they are trying to say, try and understand them. Take a step back and get your ego out, and be like, okay, what are we saying? What's happening? And honestly, y'all, do you think that if Maya had not attacked Newton, because, Newton was attacked, that she would be feeling the way that she does now? Like, I don't know. I think that you think she would, Artieka? You think that she would still be like, oh, she would have found something else.
She would have found a new reason, like he brushed his teeth wrong.
He probably do.
He's too soft. That's what she would have found. That would have been the
He's a
reason.
yes man.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I think she would have found something else, but it wouldn't have been this early. She would have found it later. I think she would have found it later on. I think if Newton hadn't gotten attacked, that Justin probably would have got somebody now.
Which also was a thing for me. Like, hearing her, I get, when I'm disconnected to you, I don't want to have any type of, intimate connection with you in that manner. I might hug you, I might cuddle a little bit, because I'm not a cuddler. It's too hot, y'all see. Look like I'm sweating over here just sitting. I don't like it. But the fact that he tried and she was like, no, it's almost like she was making fun of the fact that he had a wet dream. Like, I'm enticing him. He wants me now, but I'm gonna play this game. Like, I just don't like that they both are actually gaslighting one another. The whole I love you so much and the whole I love you but I don't. Like, it's really weird, and I'm always rooting for us. I really am, but this couple is one that just needs to go ahead and sever ties. She swiped right, or is it left? Which way is it? She swiped left. She swiped right. Left. She swiped left. But, I'm looking at my app right now, because right means I like you. Left means I don't. So you swipe left on Hinge, or you hit the X or whatever. When you saw him, you knew you didn't like him, man. It was something about him then you didn't like, and it's something about him now you don't like. And he do look a little goofy. So I'm just saying, like, that might be it. He ain't got enough He's not masculine presenting enough for her. Maybe I don't know because I don't want to call the man soft. Because Maya, he got Maya. Maya is doing all the work, so it don't even matter if he's soft because Maya gonna handle the business. Get him, Maya. Like it don't even matter. So I think that he's not masculine presenting enough for her. She wants a reformed thug. Y'all know what that is, right? One somebody that used to be in the streets and was hanging, and now they love the Lord, right? So I'm gonna still protect you and everything. I don't know. I think that they both actually need to just shut up for 5 minutes and really listen to one another and then come to the agreement that neither of them like each other. I just want to be married to anybody, is Justin. And so I love you, but you're really not hearing me. You don't understand me. I'm really not what you want. I really feel like he knows that. And I really feel like she needs to be honest with herself as well as the rest of us. Like, okay, let's call it quits. If they do that whole middle of the road thing, we're 4 weeks in or whatever it is. Do you want to stay married? But they'll both say yes. I agree, K Wu 10 Designs. He is not attractive para me. So she said para me.
Yeah, I think one thing that we haven't heard much about Justin, we haven't heard about his cat. I don't know what happened to the cat. Did the cat just disappear? But nonetheless, I think Justin tried to come off. He's one of those people that you ever been around the people when you having a conversation or there's a person that always got to say something in the conversation, like they always right, and that's why she was telling him to be quiet. Like you're always talking, that you have a point. You're always saying that that's not what you said yesterday. And I think Justin lies sometimes just to be a people pleaser. I think he lies to be a people pleaser, and she's tired of him lying to be a people pleaser. And she doesn't know, and she's so hard in this aspect that she's a runner, And I think the running aspect is she ready to go. Do she want to be married to Justin? No, I think she's there just for the checks, right? I think she's there just to continue to get paid on the show. Justin swears that he used to be hard, right? Justin said he's bulletproof, that he's cold, he can be cold, and he will be cold, And she's like, where? Like what? Like when can you be cold? When? And I'm surprised that he didn't cry in this episode. They didn't show him crying during this episode, but he swears that he was hard and he was bulletproof. That
he did yell at her. He was yelling at her, and that when we seen that background, he didn't have no bass in his voice, but he was yelling at her. Okay, Glenn, I'm sorry.
Now you're right though. He was yelling at her. So her thing is she took it all the way back to the candy shop. Like, like you wasn't talking in the candy shop, which I didn't like anyway because she didn't. If you didn't watch After Party or you didn't know anything else, you thought they would stay together. But she never once said, "I went home." Right? If you ever look at Alexis, she always put herself as he's wrong, and that she has never done anything wrong in this situation. That she has never done wrong. She never talked down to him. She never ridiculed him. That she just didn't leave her dog with him. So she never seems as if she has any problems. She basically told this dude, if we were not on this show, I'd have left you a long time ago. I wouldn't dated you. Translation newsflash, I'm here just because I signed a contract. And when these 8 weeks are over, I probably would say no. And that's the way she's riding it out. I don't think he gets none out of the 8 weeks. I don't think they month anniversary. I know, but again, she keep playing both sides because she's lovey-dovey with him. She hugging up with him. She be kissing on him until he says something wrong. Now, is that her trying or that's her trying to look good for TV? So I don't know which way it is with Alexis yet because I don't think we've really seen the real Alexis. I don't think we know which Alexis is she? Is she the one that's kissing him on horseback, talking about my neck hurt and I really love you and I care about you? Or is she the one that say, you know what, I can't deal with you and I'm going home and I'm staying home and I'm only back here because production made me come back? I think she's pretending. I think she's trying to pretend for TV. I don't want she want to come off as the angry black woman. And I think she's trying and she don't want to hurt his feelings, but I don't think she really like dude because if she's what made, and this is, I think everybody says it, if you swipe left just a few months earlier and you didn't like the profile he allegedly was stalking you in your DMs and y'all match up, what make you now all of a sudden want to try? Is it because the experts chose him? Because the experts picked him? Or is it because okay, I'm getting a little bit of extra bread and me and Newton can take a vacation later? Which one is it, right? And so it makes you wonder her motives in this situation. And I don't think Justin anything he can do to help her out. I think she's trying to help Justin for the next woman, but she ain't helping Justin for her. She trying to help Justin so whenever they break up, whenever they divorce, whenever they leave, or whatever happens on decision day, that the next woman he messes with will be okay. Can you imagine what decision day looks like when she says no for him?
That man gonna cry. Every time I see this man, I think he's gonna cry.
Cause he is
Like
crying. Most times we
he's on
see
the
him.
verge of crying.
He's cried like every other episode.
Yeah, like some like I was like I don't judge a person for crying. Crying is a part of life. But every time you're like it's your turn to talk, she can make you cry like this. It's for me that's weird. And I think damn, I just had something, but it just left me like a thief in the night. Um I don't know. Justin just gets on my nerves, man, with all it being soft and stuff, man. Go do something. Go dig a hole or something, man.
Really?
Yeah, like go do something that just like you
That
know,
makes you not soft digging a hole.
something, man. Like no, but it's the thing is, or the thing that bothers me the most about them is that they're not really truly getting to know each other. They're asking each other questions, but they're
Mhm.
not experiencing each other. And I think that's what's hurting them so much because only thing they're having are conversations or things that it's basically like somebody saying if I was in this situation I would do X, Y, and Z, but not experiencing that X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And it's harder to get to.
Hypotheticals.
Yeah, it's very, you're dealing with those, but it's like go out and go grocery shopping with each other, or go go on a date, go to the park, go do things together, which they probably are doing things, but we're not seeing those things.
But it's like what Dr. Pia said. They need to both understand each other, and I don't think she's trying to understand him. I think she's
Mhm.
already set in her ways, and she's not trying to understand him. He's trying to understand her. But mind you, he has taken on the role in this relationship that I'm going to do everything to please you, and I'm going to do everything that you want me to do, and everything I can't do, so you don't do nothing. And when you do that in a relationship, and the person doesn't reciprocate or even appreciate what you've done, it becomes disheartening. And I think that's where he's at. He's disheartened because she's not saying thank you. She's not saying I appreciate you. She's not even telling him, I know it wasn't your fault. The dog got attacked. She's not giving him any benefit of the doubt. And so when you don't give him benefit of doubt, he's like, what can I do next? Because everything, look at him. He's playing like I said last week. He's like a backup quarterback waiting. Like, I don't want to throw an interception. I don't want to lose the game. I don't want to come in and mess up. And he's in his relationship like, I don't want to mess up, because guess what? If I mess up this marriage, in his mind, I may not get married again, because he said his only true love, I believe, was a woman who, that left him at the altar. So
Mhm.
he doesn't want to mess this relationship up again, and he doesn't want to mess his marriage up again. And I think Justin he's whatever she wants him to do, he's going to be willing to do it. And just like Mitch and Kristen, I don't see her doing anything that he wants her to do. I don't see Alexis bending backwards. It'll be interesting to see what she does for the month anniversary, if she does anything or they show her doing something for him. I mean, only time will tell. I
Gonna
just think,
run again, like she did. Like we didn't know that she left the night with Newton getting attacked and didn't come back home, but we watched her run at least 2 more times. So that's what's gonna happen. She's just gonna find a reason to not stay there that night too. Be like, "Oh, we've been together for a month. I gotta go home."
Hmm. I also think that it's like I think the biggest hurdle is her not liking him and him liking her too much, you know, and trying to compensate for all that, and it's just hurting their relationship moving forward. She wouldn't try to run from somebody she liked or from something she liked. Um, and I just think that's what's hurting them.
yeah, yeah, his communication skills need to come up. I think they need more therapy sessions. Hopefully,
Hmm.
Pastor Cal can get involved much more than he is. Maybe Dr. Pepper much more than she is, to kind of salvage this relationship, because I think I see potential there, and I think there is potential there, but I think she just like, she's rough around the edges, and he's not rough enough. So
Mhm.
That's the thing. Like he's not being the leader that she needs. you know, in the spaces that she needs to be led. And he's kind of like I don't want to say he's been a yes man for her, but you know, for lack of better words, he's basically being a yes man for her in those certain situations, you know.
You know what it reminds me of? And it was an episode of Fresh Prince. He reminds me of Carlton, and she looking for Will.
Yeah,
For somebody who's at that level, but can be a little bit rugged and a little bit thuggish. I think Artieka said it. One of you guys said it a few minutes ago. She needs a little reformed thug that has a little bit of bass in his voice, a little bit of thug, but also can keep it on an even keel when needs to be. So let's talk about thugs and a little bit of thuggery coming out. Nate showed a little bit of his thuggery this week. Nate showed that he got a little bit of bass in his voice. Nate showed that, look, I don't need you, but I like you. And guess what? I still think you 40%. Now, regardless of what you think, I think we had a 40%. Talisa, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Nate and Stasha from this week, and and Stasha living on a 40% because her feelings were hurt.
I think that this is a prime example of two people speaking different love languages. Prime example. Hers is definitely words of affirmation. She needs to hear you say that you are working towards, that I like you, that I appreciate you, that these are our goals, and this is what we're going to. Where he's saying, I'm making the action. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm with you with these goals. I'm in this. Don't you see me? Don't you hear me? And I think this is a prime example of two people who don't recognize that they are showing up the way that they know how to show up. I am looking like 40%, dog. That's a little low though. 40%, like 40%, dog. That's I just met you and just bought you a couple drinks. To me, like that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm, I don't know, and I get going slow and taking your time and all of that. But did you have to say 40%? You could have just been like, you know what? I can't quantify it right now. Why do we need to use a scale? I like you, and we're on a path towards, building a life together. But 40% did hit her in the heart, hit her in the gut just a tad bit, especially since she's at 8 out of 10, 80%. So, I also think that like she is like constantly like asking and jabbing and asking in a different way, thinking that he's gonna give a different answer. Looking for the answer that she wants and him to articulate it the way that she does because she goes to therapy, because she's articulate, because her love language is words of affirmation. So I think that he about sick and tired of that. I think that he's sick and tired of her just saying, he's like, well, what do you want? I'm telling you that these are the things that I'm doing to help us. And she's like, that's not enough. And so for him, it's all like, if you keep on, I'm out. I don't like either way of communicating. Honestly, I think that I think that all the ladies feel like if you don't say I love you by decision day, then I don't, I need to not love you. Because I think that even if he didn't say I love you, that she might still say yes, because she too wants to build a family and wants to be married. But I just feel like for him, it's pressure. Like she's applying a lot of pressure to get the things that she wants. And he's not giving it. On the flip side, he does seem very much so withdrawn. He does seem very much so not into the relationship because he is very calculated out. I think that he's very calculated in the way that he is moving in the relationship. So they have to figure out how to communicate together so that they understand one another. Like for him, he could just easily say, I can't tell you that I'm at 40%, but I'm on my way. If we continue in this vein, I'm going to be at. I will love you eventually, because I think that that's what she wanted to hear in that kitchen. When she asked about goals or whatever, he was like, the goal is to be married. The goal is whatever. I think she was looking for him to say, I want to love you. The goal is for me to love you and to stay married to you, or something of that effect. And that's not what he gave her. But I feel like in his language, that's what he was saying. So she wants him to say what she wants him to say, but he's kind of saying it. Like, to me, he's kind of saying what you want him to say, just not in the words that you want him to say them in. And she has to take a step back and really look at the fact that this man is actually putting in some effort. This man is actually listening to me. You know what? Let me take off what I know and what I think, because I think I have all the wisdom at 37, and I've been living, and I have therapy and all this shit that she, thinks she got going for herself. If she could just take a step back and really listen to what he's saying, I think she'll find out that he's actually saying what she wants to hear. Right. And that is, I want to be loved. We heard her, was it in the honeymoon, when she was saying, I deserve to be loved, and so does he. And so that's why I think that love word it holds so much weight for her. And so she just has to figure out, how do I step outside of myself to see what this man is actually saying? He's saying that I can. I've already said I'm gonna move into your house. I don't agree with that. I'm gonna move into your newly built house, and I'm gonna go to therapy. And I'm even talking to you about these kids you want to have in a year, and I'm looking like that's too soon. So, like, all of these things, I think that for me, she's overreacting just a bit, just a smidge. But I do feel like sometimes he's a little stoic, and that he could give her just a little more, maybe say it a little differently. I don't know. What y'all think?
Um, Stasha, she drove home that love word. I kind of agree with everything you said, Talisa. Um, Nate is, if you notice, Nate is a person that he's going to give you 70% of an answer. You know, it's the right answer, it's his honest opinion, but you're only getting 70% of the answer that you want. Um, she has to learn to be comfortable with that until he's comfortable answering more or learn to ask different questions. And I think that's what her issue is, because she's like, for him it's, you don't love me, you only giving me 40%. You don't love me, you're only giving me 40%. You don't love me, you only giving me 40%. Even though she's asking different questions, but they all are they're the same. And it's like, how long can you ask that? How many days straight can you ask that before it's like, this is dumb? You know, I don't feel like Nate is has I don't feel like Nate has given us anything different, right? I don't think anything that Nate has said, 40% is not surprising. Like, I'm a 4 out of 10. It's not surprising because of how he's processed everything else. Like the simple fact of, I have no emotions for my mom. That's a deeper conversation to have off the top, right? But that's as far as their conversation went. I'm 4 out of 10 committed to this relationship. All right. Well, how do we get you to a 10? What does that look like?
Was it 4 out of 10 committed or
What
in love?
I don't know. It was 4.
I think it was
Right, it was 4. That's
It's 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 in love.
okay.
In love. Okay.
That was what I was about to get at. Because on a scale of 4 to 10 in love is what he said, but what she heard was, I'm only 44% 40% committed to this relationship. And he said, I'm 100% committed to this relationship. I'm just only 40% to the point of saying that I love you. And if you listen to what he says, like, y'all are on the same page. You don't love him either.
Right. But
You're 100% committed to this relationship too. Y'all are saying the exact same thing,
Yeah.
but you heard something different. And because you heard something different, you're ready to pout and throw a fit about it. But it's like, y'all said the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. I think Stasha needs to, what is it called? A biological clock.
She has a
I
biological
think
clock and it's ticking
I
loud.
think that if she can remove that and really get to know her husband on a level that because he seems to be open to the idea of letting her in, right? I'll talk to you about anything you want to know. You just have to ask the right question, because I'm only going to give you so much of it, right? So if she stopped focusing on, oh, we got to hit this, we got to be here, we got to do this, you got to love me, you got to do this, you got to do this, and just really focus on, I'm going to spend this time wisely with you and not worried about where we are at the 8 weeks or worried about where we are at the end, because like everybody else in the show, they say yes on decision day to go further than 8 weeks.
Mhm.
So I just think she needs to relax as far as like trying to somebody said she was K Wu said she was controlling. Yeah, I think she if she relaxed on trying to control the whole situation, um and really just hone in on enjoying the moment, I think they have a better shot at being successful at this marriage. So that's what I got.
No, I definitely agree that she is looking at this process as we got to get them hooked because we got things to do here. We got babies to make and life to live.
Yeah.
And he's like, slow down, player. We got time.
Right.
Um, I do. I mean, she's 37. I get it. You're wondering, can I have kids? You don't want to be 45 figuring out that you should have had kids 10 years ago because now you got a deficit of eggs.
She has to become comfortable with the idea that she may not have kids.
She should, but a lot of people are not.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
She's looking at this from a different lens than most people getting married are, because she's like, this is the thing, these are the things that I wanted to do. I got my career together early in life. Now it's time for me to fulfill the other side of things. Get the husband, check. Have the baby, check. If it doesn't work out, I can still afford this baby. It's cool.
Right.
I'm all right.
Which is I just want to interject. This is side note. I think it's sad that women have to make that decision.
What, career versus kids?
Yeah. And I feel like that's what happened with her. It's like, oh, like it was kind of like I'm 37 years old now and I don't have any children, but I always wanted children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, why at 26, 27 years old, what happened? 30 years old, what happened? At 32, what happened? You know what I'm saying?
She was still on a daily grind for a business or
Yeah.
professional goals, which life's not fair. We can only have kids for so long while y'all can create them in y'all 70s
and 80s.
Yeah. And first off, for me, myself personally, I don't want to have kids at that age. I used to always say that I would be a 40-year-old first-time mother. Life happened. I decided that I would have my first kid at 32. I don't know why I was crazy enough to do that, because I still don't think that I was mentally ready for that. But that's a whole different story. But when you have this biological clock and you have this list of things that you feel like you should be doing, you are looking at it from a standpoint of, I only have so much time. I got to hurry up and do this. I got to hurry up and do this. I got to hurry up and do this. And he's saying he's 4 out of 10. She's hearing, man, I got to do something.
Because he ain't the one.
But realistically, would you not think it's a red flag if at day 21 of you meeting a guy, he was like, I am so in love with you? I would be like, he is a crazy stalker. Get this man away from me. But she's looking for that.
And I don't get that. I don't get what's the satisfaction of love. Like I feel like it's so many failed opportunities in that conversation, because she was so focused on him saying he loves her, or where he, what gets him to loving her. But it's like, what does that look like? What does love look like to him? What does love look like to you? Because it may look different. He may not know. And I don't think and she's so hooked on what did she say? Pastor Kyle said, love is a feeling and not a
love is a choice, not a feeling.
Yeah, love is a choice and not a feeling. We'll find out what that choice looks like for him. Find out what it is that he's wanting in this situation, because obviously we know what you want. And why is he at a 4 instead of being offended because he's at a 4? Find out, okay, how do we pivot because he's committed to what we're doing? That's the first step in everything.
And he can absolutely lie about being in love with you. What does that solve?
Right.
He could be like, I'm 10 out of 10, stars across the board. Like, right. Great, I love you.
Right.
That don't mean he means it.
Right.
It's just what he said.
And honestly, 40%, they only been married 2 weeks. 40% means I really like you, and I'll buy you a drink.
I like you a whole bunch, and the next bottle of tequila is on me.
It's
But
in 2 weeks. Yeah. Come on, have another shot. Don't
y'all,
go me again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
y'all missed it. But the problem is she probably had already given him some, and he think that what she gave him should have been more than 40%.
Well, he said he just had dessert. Okay, and everybody was confused by what that meant. I was like, "Oh yeah, these is
I
not
wasn't
black people."
confused.
I
would-
don't
I
know
would-
why
I
they
know,
were
except
confused.
with the exception of Justin.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what dessert. I had a little dessert
Yeah.
after.
So I mean, I think the baby thing with her, I think she has check marks. I think you said it, Artieka, and I think K said it. She has check marks that this is the time frame. I need to have a baby by this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I think what Tommy was talking about, I think she hadn't found the right guy by that time, by all her ages, and because remember she said guys are intimidated by her, and because of the way she acts and the way the money she has and the way she maneuver and the way she move and her grind, so she hadn't found the right guy. Think about it. If she hadn't been they were forced in the situation. If she wasn't forced on this show, she might still not have a guy, right? So now she says, "I have a man. He's married to me. I'm gonna latch on. Check. I'm gonna latch on because look, I'm married, and this is the only way I think I can stay married. So I'm gonna do everything I can to get him to say yes and do what I need him to do because after these 8 weeks, I want to be hooked in here, right? I don't want to go back to my last. I'm not going back to my last name. She already said that, right? And she wants Nate to be part of her. The problem is she wants Nate to run the same pace that she's running. And you can't expect somebody who's not in your shoes to run the same pace. Y'all ain't trained the same. You ain't been to do the same things. As I think Artieka said, y'all in the same arena, you're on the same track, but you're not running at the same pace. So he just got to be the fact that he's in the arena with you. He's on the track. He could be out there somewhere else. Y'all in the same place. You're just not running at the same pace. Y'all going around the same circle, just not at the same pace. And so she wants him to be at her pace. Well, he has trauma that he has to work on. You've been working on your trauma for however long you've been going to the therapist. That is great and fine. He's just starting to really work on his issues. So let him work on his issues as you build a relationship together. I think babies too fast in marriages. I know when me and Jack, when we got married, I was 23 years old. We didn't want babies for like 2 or 3 years because we wanted to know each other, right? We knew each other in college. We got married, but we wanted to know each other being married, right? Wanted to know each other by living with each other. Wanted to know each other by getting used to our own quirks and our own things while having a child in a way. So when we got our child, when we had a dog. So when we got a dog, we wanted to have children without a dog. So, I mean, we got rid of the dog. So it just becomes different stages in life that you deal with things. And so I think what she has to do and her and Nate have to really step down and say, you know what? Here are some of the things that we want. Here's some of the time frames, but let's get to know each other. Because again, by them not communicating with each other, they didn't realize they were saying the same thing. They don't really know each other yet. And when you really know your spouse, you don't argue because you realize, you know what, we are actually saying the same thing, just saying it different ways. And I think that was the biggest issue is for him to base up. I appreciate it for him stepping up to her. She said she was hot. She said she was mad, but she kept it on the inside. She didn't lash out. But she said what she did say on after party, what I thought was great because Keisha asked her when she watched it back, how that make you feel? And she like, you know what? I did pressure him too much, and I was wrong. So she admitted the fact that she was doing too much. I don't know where their relationship ends at, but she did admit they're watching that, excuse me, that she was doing too much and that she should have just let him, move at his own pace and for her to be there and to be supportive. And I think that's what she hasn't learned. She hasn't learned how to support him where he's at to get him to come along to where she is. And you have to support him. Okay. Don't press. There's a difference between pressuring and supporting. And she has to learn how to support and not pressure. Because I can support you. All right, good. I'm glad you're going to therapy. Do you want to talk about it? What's going on? You and your dad. How's mom? How was growing up? And can we respect each other? Can we talk about this? And just sit there and listen and let him share and pour into her and not try to manipulate the situation. Do I agree with him calling her manipulative? Yes. I think she did try to manipulate him to feel the way that she wanted him to feel, to think the way that she wanted him to think, to move the way that she wanted him to move. And that's the definition of manipulation. Was she doing it to be spiteful? No, she was doing it just to get him on the same page as her, not knowing they're not going to be on the same page as of yet. I have no problem with him moving in with her, but I do say this though: if he move in with her, if I'm him, I would like to get my name on that lease real quick, so she don't get mad at me and put me out. Who we need to go get something together because she already made my brother sign a prenup. There's no telling what will happen when they get angry at each other, and she might say, you know what, get up out of here. And he wants to make sure again that this thing is for real before we start popping off babies. You already got a guy who thinks he don't have enough money Can you imagine if they have a baby and it don't work out and he got to pay child support? Bro, gonna be hurting.
She probably wouldn't even ask him for no money.
Man, that California child support crazy.
She probably wouldn't ask him for nothing.
I don't think they would award him her any money from him just by the big differences in salaries.
I think you might be right, Artieka, because I don't.
Yeah, you might.
He would need to. He might have to fight her about the quality time to spend with the child. But other than that,
and I think remember that's what he said. He said he wants to be with his child, so he would. I think he wouldn't let her run. That's one of his hangups is that we'll have a child and you'll leave me, and my child be like me, basically the way my mother did me. So I think Nate has some things that he need to work on, and Stasha just needs to be patient and let Nate work through those things, and don't expect him to move like she moved.
She needs to realize like he didn't know he had an issue. I don't think now I don't think he still really recognizes that there's something wrong with him just saying I have no emotions about my mom, and she needs to see that. Like he's agreeing to be like, hey, I'm gonna go get therapy and stuff like that is great. It's awesome, but like it's like he's just recognizing these issues that he's having or that you think he has. And so it's like you have to give him some type of grace. You have to give him some type of time to figure out what's going on with him. So man, she showed her butt this episode, man.
Yeah, but I think they can work it out though. I think if out of all the couples who will get it together, I think those two would get it together and will be able to work it out.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a matter of if he like how he looks at it. Like if he can look past how like her looks and really hone in on the fact of is this my person or not? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with her? And if he can answer that question and answer it honestly, I think they'll be fine. But what they say about pretty, it fades.
Yeah, but I think the way he came off to her because she's looking for a daddy, she might actually like that.
She might.
Not in a bad way, not no sexual type way. When I say that, what I'm saying is with somebody who
she's looking for a daddy.
I have to clear myself up because people be in the chat crazy, right? And when I say that is because she said men are always intimidated by her, which means she's always controlling. And sometimes when you have somebody who can bounce back on you and come back at you, you actually like that because again, they're not scared of you. We said the same thing with Justin and Alexis. He hasn't really bounced back on her yet, and I think and Nate showed that he cared. His bouncing back was, "Hey, I really care about you, but I don't like the way you're doing X, Y, Z."
Yeah. No, I think they're okay. It's just she gotta calm down, man. I don't get people being intimidated by her.
It's the beauty and the money. Yeah.
You say what?
It's the beauty and the money.
Oh.
And she wants somebody with a little thug in him too, So and so if those are the men that she date, then you got all the control.
She gonna have to pull like a Fantasia. How Fantasia's husband was he went to prison and he couldn't find a job, and so he became an entrepreneur, and then he got with Fantasia. My husband is a boss. He is because he can't work for anybody.
Right. But you think about Fantasia's background, and so where she came from. She was attracted to him off top, probably. So
off top, she was
like, yes, and he handsome. That's what she, listen, I ain't got nothing wrong with it. My husband was a reformed thug, but that's not what I date no more. Dear future bays with an S. You can't be a reformed thug. Please be educated and speak well and know how to act right. Okay, don't.
Can somebody do a dating show around you like this? I just want to be on the panel and be like, nope.
Nope. We know that ain't not him, not that one.
That would be fun for me.
That'd be a great reality show, man. That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be a great show. Great show with Lisa's dating life. That'd be great.
Y'all be like, oh my God.
I won't. I'll be like, I have questions.
Tommy would have you hooked up with the absolute worst. You'll be like, I don't like guys that do XYZ. And Tommy would be like, that one right there. That's what he does. Sit on a date with him.
Hey, look, it may work. It may work. Man, closing thoughts. And then, by the way, speaking of that, if you have not listened to August Love Stories podcast this week with Talisa, you don't know what we're talking about, and you're not in the know. So you need to go listen to their August Love. You need to listen to August Love Stories podcast, and check out what we talk about as they interview Talisa Ray this week. So check it out. Final thoughts
Most
from
fun
you.
I've had all summer.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Gotta get a part 2 going.
Closing thoughts on the episode. I want Justin just outright ask Alexis, like, are you gonna let this dog situation go? That's pretty much that's all I got for everybody together this episode. Like, I just want this dog situation to be
Yeah.
let go. Like, what do we need to do to move past it?
I don't think we do move past it because it's her out. But my closing thoughts. This season has been, it's like we're looking at it and it's like, hey guys, just do this and you'll have a better outcome. Just do that, you'll have a better outcome. And I feel like we're doing that more. It's like the people, I don't get why people don't see it. You know, the couples here, I like the couples here, but I think they're too focused on the 8 weeks. I think the couples need to focus more on I'm married and I want to get to know this person.
Do I like you?
Right.
I like you.
Right. That's what I think they need to focus on instead of focusing so much on I have 8 weeks. Like when it gets I have 2 weeks left or I have a week and a half left. Okay, now start focusing on the fact that you have to make a decision. But until you get to that point, let's focus on the do I like you part, you know.
Oh, it's on me. I really don't have much to say. Like, I'm just here watching the show, watching them screw their lives up, watching them try to figure it out, one wandering aimlessly, not knowing what to do. And it's not as bad for me right now because we started so late. So I'm really happy about that. I'm gonna hit, all I got is I'm gonna stay in there, hang in there, and yes, definitely go watch my interview or done with. I think that's how I would say it, with August Love Story. They are family, so I felt like I was safe. So y'all get all the business if you go and you watch and you listen. And then listen again because you might have missed something when you were being judgmental the first go round. So then go back and listen to it again so that you can hear it with your full ears and your heart open. Also, don't forget to subscribe to all of us. We love you very much. We know that you watch us on our channels, but make sure you're subscribing, not just going and picking. Make sure that you're subscribing here so that when we come on Sundays, you can be like waiting for us at 3 Pacific Standard, 6 Eastern. Yeah, I think that's right. And I just want to say thank you all the time for letting me come and be myself. Glenn?
Nah, you're welcome, y'all. More than welcome here, your family. Thank you guys for being in the chat. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hope everyone has a great Labor Day Labor Day weekend. What's left of it. The episode for me, my comments on this is that I'm happy that we're not calling this a dumpster fire yet. I'm just happy that we're not calling this a dumpster fire because in previous seasons, by this point, we was like, you know what, when is this season going to end? So at this time, we kind of really still invested in some of these couples to see where they're going and where how it turned out. Because at this point, I really don't know with some of these couples. I really don't. I have my opinion. In years past, we could figure out right about now which couples were not going to make it. We don't really know about Justin and Alexis. He may be able to turn around. We don't really know about. Only one we can really say for sure is probably Ben and Morgan, and that they probably won't work out because her trust issues. But everybody else, to me, is still up in the air, and they may have opportunity to work out and may have opportunity to correct it. So once again, thank you guys for being great in the chat. Thank you for being interactive with the polls. We catch you guys next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And once again, as Talisa said, please check out our content, everyone's content throughout the week. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you. And like I said, Jack's not here because she's already at a white party that I'm getting ready to get dressed for. Again, I'm like Mitch. I didn't want to go, but because my wife asked me to go, I'm going. So, Jack, I know you're watching. Love you, and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.